Merry Christmas, everybody. This is going to be my holiday Christmas cage tour along with the part two of my Q&A. I am going to go ahead and do the cage tour at the beginning, so if you don't want to listen to my Q&A, you don't have to. I didn't go too crazy this year, and I kind of did more of like a winter wonderland theme. I was kind of like sick of the red and green since that's what the cage was last week from last year's Christmas cage tour, but I did go ahead and decorate the sunroom a little bit. Like I have the lighted bottle and some lanterns from IKEA, and then these are all of my Christmas cards that I got this year. I am an avid Christmas card sender, so I usually get a lot back in return. So these are all the ones that I got this year. And the cage is pretty much the same. I have their critter pod, their lava ledge, their bird toy, along with the litter box back there in the corner. And then these are three little presents that I made for them with a different treat inside, and you'll see them going in those later. And here is a tube hammock that I made with a flat top so they can sleep on top if they want or inside. And there's a bird ladder, and then I also have this, I replaced the green one with this blue basket. These were from Target in the dollar section like 2 years ago. I still have them. And then I have their Super Pet water bottle, another bird toy, and then their Super Pet Heidi house, along with some wood blocks that belonged on another toy that they destroyed. And then here is another hammock. I accidentally made this ginormous because at the time I still had Mishka and Mila, and I knew that they liked these kind of hammocks with a little hole in it right there. So it's okay, it's just a really big hammock. And then there's a box there with some fleece scraps in it. This is Uno's favorite spot to sleep. He likes burrowing in there. And then I also still have this bird rope here. And then this was another toy that I got a few months ago, where you just hide the treats in it. Down below I have their greens, and there's a little mat that I made for them for the bowls. Hi cuties! And today they got some leftovers from my dinner as well as their greens, which was potatoes and some carrots and stuff that I put in a pie. And then here is another hammock that I made. It has the fleece part also on the top so they can burrow under it like a blanket. And then I have their wheel, another litter box, bird toy, and then there's an igloo back there. You can't really tell, the lighting's really bad, I'm sorry. A litter box and a few more toys. So that's pretty much it for the cage tour, and this was their dinner that I was giving them. Like I said, it was potatoes and some garlic and carrots and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the second part of my Q&A, and Lars and Nibby asked if she were to get rats, would it be okay to keep them in the cage with another animal like a guinea pig or a bunny? And no, rats should only live with other rats, and this actually goes for a lot of other small animals. They shouldn't be living with different species. She also asked if she should get 2 or 3 rats because she didn't want any third wheels. This is just personal preference. Some people prefer to get 3 just because they would, there's one left if one of them passes away, so there's still a pair of them, but it's just pretty much up to you in the end. And the next question is from Ratties for Life, and they're wondering if I think that wheels are bad for rats, and they've heard some stuff lately, and that they love my channel. Well, thanks for watching, and yes, I do have a wheel for my rats. It's the biggest silent spinner that you can get. I have had no problems with having a wheel with my rats. I did get a really nasty comment for someone saying that I was hurting my rats by them having a wheel in the cage. And as long as they're not a wire bottom cage, or as long as it's not smaller than 12 inches, then the wheel is okay for them. Some rats won't even use them though, like I said in one of my reviews for the silent spinner. But if you see that their back is obviously arched really, really far, depending on the size of the rat, then maybe you shouldn't put it in there. But I have had no issues with my wheel and my rats at all. And Frali Hornell, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, asked if I know of any other medication apart from Baytril that is a treatment for myco. And yes, a lot of times Baytril doesn't work on its own, so you have to pair it up with either doxycycline or amoxicillin depending on the symptoms. Sometimes doxycycline alone will work for myco, and then if they have a secondary like upper respiratory infection because of the myco, then you can go ahead and give them amoxicillin with the Baytril. You can go ahead and tell your vet this information because a lot of times vets don't know this, and they'll go ahead and prescribe it to you. And the next question is from Anna's Animals, and they ask, what is the most amount of rats that I've had at once? And I can't remember if I answered this or not, but it was 7. I had 7 rats at once. And do I volunteer with animals? If so, how often and where? I don't volunteer with animals besides the rat rescue that I'm in. I did just recently get a new job 2 weeks ago, so I am now working with animals every single day, so that is definitely fun. And I also have a question from her. How long does it take for me to clean the cage? It can take me anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, kind of just depending on what I'm doing. I will say that having 3 rats has helped out a lot. When my weekly cage cleaning day came around and I needed to clean the cage, I actually did not have to because it wasn't dirty at all. All 3 of them have been using the litter box, and I feel kind of bad because I was blaming Ingrid for not using the litter box when actually it was Mishka. Now that she has passed on, I am able to tell that, so I feel kind of bad for blaming Ingrid. Flamingo Pets Phoebe asked, what type of people do I recommend rats to and why? Um, just pretty much anybody who's willing to appreciate the rats who they are. I know rats can be a little kid's pet a lot of the times and they're misunderstood. So anybody that's willing to work with them and really appreciate their personalities and who they are, I would recommend to anybody. And they also wanted to know who is my cheekiest ratty. And right now, that is definitely Ingrid, hands down. I think she's actually been the cheekiest rat that I've ever owned out of all my rats altogether. F Yeah Pet Rats also has a few questions for me, and the first one was 10 rat products that I could not live without, and I will be doing a video on this, so it should be up next year. And number 2 was how much do I recommend saving for a vet fund? In the comment you did say that you realized that it differs in price per region, and that's definitely true. It also depends on whether or not you want to get your rat spayed or neutered, which I do recommend if you're going to be keeping males and females together. And it just kind of depends. If you're going to be keeping your rats healthy at home, then you're not going to be needing to take them to the vet as much, but accidents do happen and illnesses can come up. So maybe I can do another video on this, going into depth about what happens when you take them to the vet, because a lot of times they will charge you an exam fee which can range from $50 to $80, and that does not include any kind of care, medication, or treatment. It's just an exam fee. And they're also asking me what I do for a living. And I am in public safety, as I was a 911 dispatcher, and then I just recently became an animal control officer in one of my neighboring jurisdictions. So at the moment right now I am doing both, and hopefully I will end up just being an animal control officer, but I just started the job 2 weeks ago like I said before. Ratty's Forever 66 asked, would I ever consider adopting another hedgehog or a hamster again? And I would consider adopting another hamster. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. I don't think that I would end up adopting another hedgehog. I felt really bad for having to rehome him. I've never had to do that with an animal, and I do not want to promote that to anybody, just bringing an animal and then adopting it out when you get sick of it. I had a lot of things going on, as you know, with my brother passing away, and I basically just didn't have anybody to watch him when we left for a vacation that was already paid for. We were going out of the country, so it was a hard decision, and he was pretty high maintenance, so I don't think that we would end up adopting another one. But I do hope that he's doing fine and everything like that. And they're also asking me what my favorite animal is, and I love elephants and everything about them. I think I've mentioned it before in my last Q&A. My bathroom is decked out in all of elephant gear, and I've been to Thailand and ridden on an elephant and rubbed and kissed all over elephants. I just love them. And they also want to know what is my favorite cereal, and I feel like it changes all the time. Sometimes I like the really sugary ones like Captain Crunch or something like that. And then sometimes I like the really boring ones that just like plain Cheerios. That freak with colored hair actually has a pretty in-depth question about them getting rats from the same breeder and that they're both males and they appear to be getting aggressive with one another over their attention. And do I have any tips to stop this aggression? It says here that the two boys are 5 to 6 months old, and that's normally when maturity hits for rats. So if you are going to have an aggressive rat, it'll start to show between 5 to 6 months of age. So I would definitely keep an eye on them. As long as they're not fighting in the cage, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Maybe you can take them out of the cage individually to give them the attention that they need, or you hold one and then your significant other, if you have one, or someone else in your family, hold the other rat, just so they don't get too aggressive while they're on your shoulder or something like that. My Crazy Pets wants to know all about my other pets, and I'll show you some photos. Here is Baby. This was my husband's cat before I met him. He brought her all the way from Hawaii, from a shelter, and this is my cat. This is Bella, and I know you've seen her in some of my videos. She's a Sphynx, and she's super loving, and I've had her for about 8 years. And then here is Tipsy, our Flame Point Siamese, who's really shy and probably won't be in any videos just because she's kind of always doing her own thing. And then we went ahead and got Yuri, our puppy, and he will be 3 this month. Actually, on the 31st of December, he'll be 3, and he is a Borzoi. I take holiday photos of all my pets every single year and include them in my Christmas card, so I'll go ahead and show you the rats photos. This is Uno's picture. He was eating something in that one. I just thought it was cute. And Iona. I did get these photos taken after Mila and Mishka passed away, or I would have went ahead and included their photos. And lastly is Ingrid, looking awful cute and calm, which is a rarity. And Sophia Warnowski wants to know if I have any rats with weird personalities. And I think maybe all of my rats have weird personalities. Maybe Ingrid is the weirdest because she's super crazy and naughty and obsessive compulsive. She also wants to know, do I have my Christmas tree set up yet? And this was asked 3 weeks ago, and I think at the time I did. But all we have this year is a small Charlie Brown Christmas tree because our regular one, the lights busted on it, and we are going to buy another one, hopefully on sale after Christmas. And Danielle Lunsford has questions about a blind rat. They adopted 2 young rats, and one of them is an albino, and he seems to be blind. Most albinos or pink-eyed white rats are not completely blind, but it's really close to it, and a lot of times you'll see their head kind of bobbing back and forth to try to see what's going on. I did have a video all about rats' eyes, and I have misplaced it. I think it might be on one of my external hard drive, so I'll have to hunt it down and see if I can go ahead and edit it to post it, because it is pretty interesting on how rats see, and a lot of them really can't see well at all. So when it comes to owning a blind rat, I would just make sure you keep the cage kind of similar and don't move it around too much. And also, when you're free ranging them, I would make sure that you're watching them, but a lot of times they are completely okay with it and they'll adapt really well. Okay, that's it for the second part of my Q&A. I think there's only a few more questions that I needed to answer, and most of them were pretty in-depth questions. So I will go ahead and send you a reply in the video that you posted your question in. I hope everyone has a great Christmas and New Year and the rest of the holiday season. Thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.